He's a 15-year-old in his bedroom. And he hasn't just broken into NASA. He's also hacked the Pentagon. From his point of view, he's just toying around. From the government's perspective, he's a national security threat, one they will go after ruthlessly. It was the late 1990s in a quiet suburban neighborhood in South Florida. Inside one of those ordinary houses lived Jonathan James. While other children were playing outside, Jonathan was inside, glued onto the family computer. His dad worked as a programmer, and that machine quickly became Jonathan's favorite place to be. At one point, his father even tried installing parental controls to limit his screen time. But Jonathan didn't see it as a barrier. He saw it as a challenge, and he broke through them with ease. In his early teens, he starts reading books on the programming language C and the operating system Unix. He spends countless hours in front of the screen, studying source code and talking to other computer enthusiasts late into the night. This isn't just a hobby for him. He's driven by curiosity and sees computer as a companion. First, he slips into his school district's network, then the telecommunications network company called Bell South. His father recognized his talent, but thought his son's actions as harmless exploration. But he didn't realize that soon, it won't be his parents trying to keep him away from a computer. It will be the US government. Between August and October of 1999, Jonathan James, who also went by the alias Comrade, was about to push beyond the harmless boundaries he'd crossed before. This time, he set his sights on something far bigger than anything he had ever attempted. His first major target is the Defense Threat Reduction Agency. The DTRA isn't some random government office. These are the people who deal with nuclear, biological, and chemical threats for the Department of Defense. Jonathan managed to slip through their firewall like a ghost in the circuitry. Once inside, he installed a hidden way back into the system so he can return whenever he wants. Then he added a tool that lets him quietly watch the network's traffic, almost like listening in on conversations. Over time, he collected more than 3,300 internal messages and even picked up usernames and passwords for at least 10 military computers. He wasn't done. His next target was NASA. He found a weak point at the Marshall Space Flight Center in Alabama and slipped into their network, gaining access to 13 NASA computers. This time, he decided to take something. He downloaded proprietary software estimated to be worth $1.7 million. The source code that controlled the International Space Station's temperature and humidity systems. Jonathan had taken the software. And when NASA finally realized what had happened, the entire agency went into panic mode. They shut down their servers for 21 days, and that alone cost them tens of thousands of dollars. News of the breach spread fast. Television anchors repeated the story every hour. Panels of experts argued about national security. Households across America watched the broadcasts with a mix of fear and disbelief. A teenager had touched the system's link to the International Space Station. People wondered what else he could do. The government didn't wait around to find out. The Department of Defense, NASA, and the FBI launched a joint investigation. 3 powerful agencies, united by one mission: track down the most elusive hacker the country had ever seen. Weeks turned into months as they chased digital footprints across servers, logs, and networks. And eventually, after relentless effort, they got a match. But instead of discovering some hardened criminal, they were stunned to learn the truth. Their master hacker was just a 15-year-old kid. Agents rushed to his house, expecting to corner the prodigy. But when they arrived, Jonathan was nowhere to be found. He had already anticipated their move and slipped away before they arrived. All they found were his parents, confused and terrified. With no other option, the authorities detained his parents and waited. They were sure he would reach out eventually, and he did. A phone call came in. Officers prepared for a confession, maybe a plea. But Jonathan didn't surrender. Instead, he delivered a threat that made every agent in the room freeze. He told them that if they didn't release his parents within 12 hours, he would destroy and disrupt the entire American economy. The officers had seen what he was capable of. They had watched him slip through government systems like they were made of paper. The thought that he might actually carry out the threat was enough to scare them. So they let his parents go. For Jonathan, it felt like a victory. A moment where he believed he was outsmarting the entire federal government. But victories built on fear don't last long. Weeks later, despite all his precautions and all his confidence, Jonathan was finally tracked down and arrested. The chase was over, and the boy who once hid behind the name Comrade now had to face the consequences of everything he had done. Jonathan James became the first juvenile in the United States to ever be incarcerated for cybercrime. He pleaded guilty to 2 counts of juvenile delinquency. Considering the scale of what he had done, the punishment was surprisingly light. 7 months of house arrest, probation, and handwritten apologies to both NASA and the Department of Defense. The lenient sentence didn't last. After violating his probation with a positive drug test, Jonathan was sent to a federal juvenile facility for 6 months. Had he been older, he could have faced 10 years or more, and his case became a major precedent for handling teen hackers. After his release, the fallout stayed with him. He battled depression and a growing paranoia that federal agents were still watching him. The fear never really left. In 2007, Jonathan's worst fear resurfaced. The Secret Service was investigating a massive data breach at TJX, one of the biggest identity theft cases in U.S. history. And during the hunt for the main suspect, Albert Gonzalez, agents found the initials JJ from an unknown accomplice. That small detail was enough to point suspicion back at Jonathan. His home was raided again. No evidence linked him to the crime, but to Jonathan, the message felt unmistakable. Despite everything, he was still the easy target. His fear grew sharper, and every knock felt like the start of a new nightmare. On May 18, 2008, that pressure reached its breaking point. Jonathan James was found in his bathroom, dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He was just 24 years old. He left behind a letter.
I have no faith in the justice system. Perhaps my actions today and this letter will send a stronger message to the public. Either way, I have lost control over this situation, and this is my only way to regain control.
And with that, the story of Jonathan James, the boy who once slipped inside some of the most secure systems in the country, ended in a way no one wanted. If you found this story intriguing, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more true stories just like this one.